Hey everybody, it's James here at the Sawyer Family Reviews channel. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. This is your weekly comic book pickups video. Every week, I pick up my kids some comic books. Sometimes I get some for me as well. But I always pick up my comics at Queen City Comics in Fairfield, Ohio, zip code 45014. If you're in the area and into comics, go check out that comic shop. While you're over there, check out the toy department, the collectible toy store I'm a part of, that is now expanded into a bigger location right next door to the comic shop. So you get toys, comics, right by each other. All right, let's jump in. True Believers, these are $1 reprints of classic Marvel tales that tie into something that's currently going on. In this case, it's the Empire event. There were 3 True Believers today, but I only bought one of them. And there's sort of a reason why back here. The other two didn't seem as appealing, or at least I didn't think it would be as appealing to the kids as these two are, or this one is. Fantastic Four, issue 37 by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Yeah, you're not going to be able to beat Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Fantastic Four. I'm sorry. Any other True Believer that pops up there, it's going to be tough to beat that. So, I went with this. $1 for classic Lee and Kirby Fantastic Four? Why not? But yeah, if you do watch the videos and you're wondering about True Believers each week, there are 2 other ones. One was an Avengers book, and the other one was a Young Avengers book, but I can't remember which issues they were. Sorry about that. This book is for Gracie. She didn't have anything. There was nothing this week that seemed appealing for her, so I went in the back issue bins, and I got this Disney Afternoon comic of Darkwing Duck. It was, I think, $3 or something in the back issues. Maybe $2, $2 or $3. So it's got Darkwing Duck and Chip and Dale. And IDW's been reprinting some of this stuff, I believe, in their big Disney Afternoon comics. So I was like, well, I'll just go right to the source. Yeah. Fun stuff. Okay, this one is for Keaton, and it's Venom issue 24. I did talk, I don't know if you watched last week's video or not, but in it, I said I'm done with the X books. I called it a day. I'm done in. The last issue of X-Men was just too much for me. I'm not enjoying the X-Men as villains, basically, and segregationists, and the whole resurrection aspect. And I thought the last issue with the Crucible storyline and the Guthrie girl was just kind of distasteful. And they were so out of character that I was like, you know what? I'm done. House of X, Powers of X, that's an Elseworlds tale to me, or What If. And this is not the status quo. So I'm just going to ignore what's going on with X-Men. And so I talked to Keaton about it, and I didn't say I was quit. And I said, hey, are you enjoying X-Men? He's like, oh, not really. You know, I'm not really liking the way their characters are going. Kind of the same things I was saying. I said, well, do you want to keep going with those books? Or would you rather me just pick up a back issue or something when you need it? He was like, 100% a back issue. He's like, I do want to keep going on Venom, though. I like Venom. So Venom it is. This is Venom Island Part 4 by Donny Cates and Mark Bagley doing the pencils. When these two first came onto the Venom book, it was really, really good. So I'm assuming it's still good now. I haven't been reading it myself. That's a great 2-page spread. That's really cool looking. I don't know what's going on with the book, but ooh, that looks like Carnage, man. Okay. All right. I don't want to ruin it. But he does really enjoy this book still. And most people I talk to that read this book enjoy the book. Blaze had nothing this week. He's getting really tough to pick out books for, because he just keeps going, I don't really like this one anymore. I don't like this anymore. I don't blame him. There's a lot of bad current books. But I saw this new Star Wars Bounty Hunters, issue 1. And I thought, you know what? He kind of likes the Bounty Hunters. He digs Star Wars sometimes. I'm going to grab this. This is by Ethan Sachs and Paola Villanelli. Oh, by the way, Venom Island was $3.99, and this is also $3.99. I mean, it's Boba Fett, right? Look at that. That's pretty cool. That's a good shot of Boba Fett. He likes Bounty Hunters. He likes Star Wars Classic Trilogy. He might like it. I don't know. Dr. Aphra, I think that is. So, we'll see. If he doesn't tell me to get the next one, I won't get the next one. And now here's the other reason I didn't buy that many True Believers this week. DC has started doing something similar called Dollar Comics, where they reprint something, same as Marvel is doing True Believers, that kind of ties into something currently happening. In this case, there's the Robin 80th anniversary special coming out soon. So they did a couple of Robin reprints today, and both of them I was like, oh man, I loved these books as a kid. So for sure I'm getting these Dollar Comics on this. So DC won out with the reprints today. I got 2 of the Dollar Comics, and I got 1 True Believer. The first one is a reprint of Batman 428, which is part 3 of A Death in the Family, one of my favorite Batman stories of all time. This is the death of the Jason Todd Robin. When I was a kid, I mean, most of you guys know this, but there was a call-in where you decided if Jason Todd Robin lived or died. And by a small margin, Jason Todd was killed. This is by Jim Starlin and Jim Aparo. And Jim Aparo had to draw it both ways, both as Robin surviving and Robin dying. Joker basically beats him to death with a crowbar while he's on a quest to find his mother. And yeah, he dead. Man, Jim Aparo pencils. Batman was not happy at Joker after this. Not happy at all. So this is a cool dollar comic. But this book right here is one of my favorite comics of all time. Of all time. This Robin miniseries, the first Robin miniseries by Chuck Dixon and Tom Lyle, is probably... It's tough for me to say because I love Dark Knight Returns so much. But if we're moving Dark Knight Returns out of the equation, this is 100% my favorite miniseries of all time. I loved this book so much as a kid. I have multiple copies. Every time I go to a comic shop that's like out of town, I look and see if they have Robin issue 1. And if they've got it, I buy it. So I've got a lot of copies of this. And the boys have read it. But it's a dollar comic, and it's a reprint of one of my favorite comics of all time. I'm going to buy it. This was so good. If you're a current reader of comics and a current reader of Batman, and you don't understand when people go back and say, oh, I really miss Chuck Dixon on these books, and I miss the way the comics used to read, just pick this up. Pick up this dollar comic and see what it's like. What it was like back then, how exciting this book was. Rest in peace, Tom Lyle. The art was fantastic. Man, super happy this is getting a dollar comic reprint. So great. Brian Bolland cover. Man, when you read this, you're going to want the rest of the series. And thankfully, it's pretty cheap to get them in trade paperback or in actual back issues. They did second prints too, so you'll be able to find them pretty cheap. Yeah, that's the winner. That's the winner of the day. And then, like I said in the last video, instead of buying a current book, I'm going back and buying back issues of Uncanny X-Men. And once I get all the back issues of Uncanny X-Men that are there, that I feel like getting, like especially the Claremont run, I will move on to like New Mutants back issues or X-Factor back issues. That's what I'm going to put my money into. So I'm still giving my money to the shop, but just not for supporting those current books. And I highly suggest that if you're feeling like giving up on those books, that you do the same. Because it's not your comic shop's fault that those books aren't as good as you hope they are. So keep supporting them until hopefully things get better. In this case, I bought Uncanny X-Men 165. I believe this was $6 maybe. This is by Chris Claremont and Paul Smith. This is Paul Smith doing the art after John Byrne left. He had a good run, Paul Smith did. Really clean art. I loved his faces. The detail on his faces was really cool. Yeah, look at this. Look at that art, man. Man, X-Men was so good during this era. That was the book that all other books were being measured by, was X-Men. Because it had great writing, great characterizations, great art. Look at this. Man. And yeah, I've got all these issues in trade paperbacks and classic X-Men reprints, all that stuff. But, you know, anything I don't have an original copy for that they've got at that shop, I'm grabbing it. So, all right, that is it this week. What did you guys pick up? What are you enjoying? What are you reading? What are you giving up on? If you enjoy the videos, like, subscribe, notify. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next week.